Why does every builder grade home have wire shelving in our closets? Heck if I know. But what I do know is I have come up with the most clever home hack to cover over existing wire shelves. It's renter friendly, no cut, no paint, no glue, no nail. That's solid and durable. It's only going to take you an afternoon and you won't even break a sweat. Hi there, if you don't know me, my name is Tracey, also known as Porch Daydreamer, and I am absolutely obsessed with getting high-end looks for less. Oh yeah, and I'm the queen of painting everything. So excited to share how I got this high-end look in my linen closet for around $100. What are we going to use to cover over our wire shelving? Some standard size laminate white closet shelving and some exterior PVC molding. Why I chose those two materials is you don't have to paint either one. The first thing you need to do is grab a tape measure, because what I want you to do is measure the depth of your wire shelving and also obviously the width of your wire shelving. Make sure you write those measurements down, because you're going to take that piece of paper and head to your local Lowe's home improvement store. Most wire shelving depths are standard and they come in 16-inch depth or 12-inch depth. So it's really important that you pay attention to those two measurements. Everybody's length or the overall width of your actual wire shelving is going to be a little bit different because they're all custom cut to fit your closet space. So to give you perspective, what mine are 39 inches wide, and I have 16-inch deep wire shelves. Something that's really important to note is that Lowe's can only take a maximum of 16 inches off of their Project Source closet shelving. So that needs to be factored in when you get your overall length. So for instance, my shelves are 39 inches wide. I ended up having to buy two 96-inch boards that were 15 3/4 inches deep, because that's a standard depth. That's going to work with my 16-inch deep wire shelving. It may work out for you like it worked out for me, that I had a whole extra board length that I was able to add to my closet. They sell simple little brackets. I just installed them into the wall with some screw anchors and attached the board to the bracket itself. You can see I've only reattached my one wire shelf, and I haven't attached the two on the top. And that is critically important for your project too. You're gonna need the length and the height to be able to get up and put the board in and lay it back on top of your wire shelf. The first thing you're gonna do is pay attention to the fact that one side is finished, the other side is not. So you wanna make sure when you install the board, it's finished and facing out. Because we're gonna turn it. It is a little bit heavy. You want to start with your board vertically oriented, so up, and turned like this. It's going to make it easier to lay it on top of the wire shelving. Now, you're going to have to factor in the fact that there are other hangers to the left and to the right that you're going to have to clear as well. So you're going to see me struggle a little bit, but just know that that's normal in order to be able to lay this board down. And ta-da! I've got my first board in. Now I'm going to go ahead, get my wire shelf, put in the next one, and we're going to repeat that process. And something to pay attention to when you reinstall your wire shelving is these vertical lines need to align with the clips in the back. So you may have to adjust your shelving left or right in order to get everything to align before you bang it back into place. Okay, now we're going to install the next shelf. Remember, always pay attention to the orientation, that white finished edge is facing out. There, a bit of a struggle for me, and really it's because these clips to the inside, you just kind of have to move and maneuver around them in order to get the shelf in. I'm going to install this last shelf, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about how we are going to attach the molding to the front of the shelving and cover up the rest of the wire racking. Now that you have your shelving laying on top of your wire shelving, I want you to go ahead and clean it really, really well. I clean each piece of molding, I'm just going to go ahead and lay it on the shelf so I know I'm finished and I've cleaned that piece. Next, we're going to make sure the face of those boards is super squeaky clean because we want to get really good adhesion when we attach this molding to the board. You're just going to put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a cotton pad and just wipe down the face of those boards. And lastly, I want you to reach up underneath the actual shelving and I want you to pull it forward just slightly in front of where that overhang is. So you can see I can get my hand in here. So you just want to make sure you pull it forward enough to be able to have enough room to put your hand up against the wire shelving. Now I know you're wondering, how are we going to attach this molding to those closet boards? We're going to use some really cool stuff. Nano tape. It's double-sided, it's reusable, it's cleanable, which means if you ever have to take the molding off because it gets dinged or damaged, or if you make a mistake while you're attaching the molding, you can remove it and start all over again to get it perfect. This nano tape is super sticky stuff. So on the outside, you can actually feel the adhesive. So I'd recommend just trying to keep your hands off of that area as you're working with the tape itself. All you're gonna need is the nano tape and some scissors. We're gonna attach the tape to the shelving, not the molding. And we're going to use thin little strips so we don't waste this precious nano tape. All we need is the actual height of the board. So we're not going to run a long strip across the board itself. We're just going to add little pieces along the edge. Don't let that nano tape creep up above the surface of the board that you're going to be putting your objects. If you're going to err on the side of it lower than the actual board itself, which is not going to hurt anything or get in the way. There is a clear covering over the outside of the nano tape. As you're applying your tape, you want to make sure you leave that covering in place. I'm going to start in the middle of the board. I'm going to work my way out. All I'm going to do is take my scissors and trim off the excess tape. I ended up placing nano tape in the middle and then about 6 inches apart from that, another piece and another piece. And then make sure you add your nano tape to the very ends of the boards to make sure we get a really good secure connection. Store the nano tape back in its bag. Remember I told you it's super sticky stuff and you're gonna wanna use this for other projects. Now the next step in this process is taking the clear covering off of the nano tape, and I'm definitely gonna need my glasses for this, and then we're gonna attach the molding to the tape. Go ahead and peel off the covering on one shelf board. Don't do them on all of them. I'm going to go ahead and work on this middle board first since I'm teaching you how to do this. So what we want to make sure we do is get the top portion of this molding aligned with the surface of the shelf itself. So be very mindful as you go ahead and attach the molding to the face of the shelf board that you get it nice and straight. Plus, you need to pay attention right to left that you've got the board aligned with the actual shelf itself before you adhere it to the face of the shelf. So I've got everything in good position. I'm using my fingers along here to feel. I'm going to slowly rotate it down and just make sure I've got everything the way I want it. I'm also going to grab the back of the shelf just to give myself a little leverage. Push and pull. I turn around and make sure I'm over here to make sure that molding is nice and attached to that nano tape. And just like that, your wire shelf is covered and it looks like a new built-in shelf. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the shelves and let you see how everything looks once I get finished. Oh my gosh, I almost can't believe how different this looks. And you're probably wondering how secure everything is. I pull out? No, the actual shelf comes with it. So the molding is on there really tightly and I can push it back into place. I can literally pull the whole shelf out and I don't have to worry about it. That nano tape is unbelievable. Okay, so the final decision is, do I go ahead and attach molding to this bottom shelf? And heck yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to go ahead and take my laundry bags out the bottom so I don't feel like I'm going to be bumping or disturbing this, but I want to have a nice, clean, finished look. So that brings me to another point is if you have other shelves in your house, all you have to do is go buy this PVC molding and attach it just the way I showed you, even if you're not covering up wire shelving. This closet cost me about $100 to make over, and it was the easiest DIY without painting, without nails, without cutting any boards. Come back for my next video where I'll reveal exactly how I organized everything in my linen closet. If you love this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.